welcome to the I'll Read What She's Reading podcast. I'm Reggie.
I'm Michaela.
And I'm Kennedy.
And we don't know what we're doing.
First podcast, here we go.
I figure we should introduce ourselves before we begin and sharing our favorite books. We're going to share our top 3. But we figure you should get to know us first. You want me to start?
Yeah, go for it. You're going first.
Okay, so I'm Reggie. We're all photographers. You're
Originally, how we were friends.
All have the same interests. We do everything together. We like the same. We go to the same concerts. We read the same books. We have the same friends.
Marco Polo, baby.
Oh yeah,
We're duplicates of each other.
I'm a mom. I'm the only mom out of you guys, so I'm old.
a dog mom.
I'm the mom.
Same.
You are, you guys, dog moms.
Dog moms.
I'm a mom. I'm a wife.
Same.
I like to read.
Same.
I used to have a podcast, but this is my new podcast. My new baby.
We're so happy to have
I'm so
you.
glad I finally have co-hosts. I'm not alone.
We're happy to be.
Yourself.
It'd be way too hard.
I don't know how you do it.
Well, I don't have to do it anymore. I got you guys now. That's pretty much me. I mean, I like to travel.
Same.
I'm going to Peru with Michaela next month.
Kicked me to the curb. I'm just
You didn't
joking.
wanna come.
They invited me, you guys. My husband doesn't like to travel internationally.
Anyways, that's me. Enough about me. Michaela, you're next.
She literally just named everything that I'm interested in. There's nothing unique about me. I would say I maybe have been reading the longest.
Yes, you have.
Yeah. But I'm not a pro by any means. I just burn through books crazy fast. So, I'm married. I already said that. And I'm a foodie. I like food.
Love that.
And I love TikTok.
Shout out to Jasper the doll.
Michaela's
book talk.
idol.
My idol. And that's pretty much it.
And I'm Kennedy, and they summed me up. I have 3 dogs. I like to read. I like Marvel.
That's a good one. Same.
And I don't like to travel. So I guess that's one difference we have, you guys.
Yeah.
And you have dark hair and we have blonde hair.
Disneyland with us.
I do like Disneyland.
I turn them into Harry Styles fans.
It's true.
So, I mean, the title of our podcast, I'll read what she's reading. It's like, I'll listen to what she's listening to. I'll travel where she's traveling.
I'll do what she does.
Pretty much we just copy each other.
Exactly.
Love it.
We're not unique at all. We're like three peas in a pod.
That's what we should have named it. 3 peas in a pod.
Anyways, that's us.
Yeah.
Someone share why we decided to start the podcast, because
We started out reading ACOTAR together, like exclusively. We've read a few books that each other has read, but we started out reading ACOTAR together, and we loved like texting each other and sending each other memes, and we're like, why not turn this into a podcast? We can talk
because
about
we
all the
literally
books.
already sit and talk like this all day.
Yeah.
We love talking about books.
Might as well start recording ourselves.
Might as well. For everybody else to hear.
So I think we're kind of funny, just a little.
A little bit.
And so you guys have a best friend too, to talk to your books about, to listen about the
Because
books
Michaela
that you
used
talk
to
about.
kind of be a loner. She was like, I like to read. And we were like,
I'm a
cool.
nobody.
You like to read? We like to read too. We'll start reading too.
I think we've converted Reggie to fantasy, so
Yeah. I never really liked, and I guess it's because the fantasy books I was reading were like more like young adult. Not that I'm saying I love the mature content.
Sure, yeah.
But like, I guess, I don't know. I've never been able to like finish any sort of like fantasy series. Like, would you consider, is Harry Potter fantasy?
Yeah.
I could never get through Harry Potter. Come at me. I'm not a Harry Potter
You read
fan.
Hunger Games though, didn't you?
Yeah, I guess.
Would you
yeah.
consider Hunger
Or
Games
is that
fantasy?
dystopian?
this is dystopia.
Is dystopian and fantasy 2 separate genres?
I don't know. We had a conversation about this when we were driving to Palm Springs.
Oh yeah,
but,
that's right.
I don't really know. Maybe we could look it up.
Basically, I've just like never been able to get into fantasy books. But then they were started reading ACOTAR, and I was feeling left out. And so I was like, okay, guys, I'll read it. And so eventually I caught up to them in the series, and
Reggie
it
was
so
changed.
fun.
She was changed.
Oh yeah, I was
For
like,
life.
wait, I dig this.
It's dystopian fiction. Sorry to interrupt.
So it is separate.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
but I'm glad you've welcomed yourself to the fantasy side.
Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna
And
stay here.
Now I'm pretty sure one of your top 3 books is fantasy. Am I wrong?
Tune in. Keep listening to find out. So yeah, that's why I decided to start this podcast.
Just 3 friends that like to read and like to talk.
Yep. So here we are.
Shut
Welcome.
up,
We
so-
hope you. We hope you stick around.
Every month we'll be doing a book. We will have a book club book that we will read and discuss. But we didn't want this podcast to just be your basic book club podcast. We wanted to talk about fun topics like Smash or Pass. We love a good game of Smash or Pass. We'll dive into some author tea. We'll read the worst Goodreads reviews on planet Earth. It's going to be a fun book podcast. We also want people to learn how to become readers. If you're not a reader, if you're just a fan, if you're a friend and you're not a reader, we're going to convert you into a reader. It's my
yes.
life mission to have everybody read.
Because reading is good for your brain.
It's so good.
So good.
And your mental health. Yeah, like, we'll talk about this a lot, but like, literally, reading has saved my mental health a
Ditto.
lot.
The whole reason I started reading was because I was spending 4 hours on TikTok a day. So I figured I probably should stimulate my
something else
brain a little
inside.
bit and only spend 1 hour on TikTok a day.
We need to introduce our first book.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
So, feel free. Kenny's like,
What is it?
Wait, I forgot. Hold on.
Oh,
Verity.
yes,
Okay,
that's
okay.
right. That's right.
So, our first book that we will be reading together for the book club is Verity by Colleen Hoover. And before you're like, oh no, Colleen Hoover.
She's an easy read, guys.
She's an easy read. Everyone, I feel like everyone's reading Colleen Hoover right now.
Yes.
I don't know a lot of people that have actually read Verity. I feel like most people read like
It Ends With
It
Us.
Ends With Us, November 9,
Ugly Love.
like all of those ones. Verity's kind of like a thriller romance.
Yes.
If you haven't been reading before, it's an easy read to get into.
Yeah.
Yes. It grabs your attention
Yeah,
from the
really
get-go.
quick.
And there's so much to discuss from the book
like
too.
the opening line. Insane.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, what the freak am I reading?
Uh-huh.
So I think it's just a really good read, literally from the first line. I'm
There'll
really
be
excited.
lots to discuss, and we want to have you guys involved in like sharing your thoughts on the book and everything. We want lots of participation.
Yeah.
Feel free to DM us on What She's Reading Pod. That's our Instagram.
Yeah.
We want to see your book updates. We also have a TikTok. Follow us on TikTok, same at
Mhm.
What She's Reading Pod.
Yep.
And
Yeah. So we're excited about that. Verity is going to be a great book to discuss. I feel like there's going to be so much to dive into. So
Yes.
can't wait. Perfect. All right, should we just jump into
yeah.
Our favorite books.
our top 3 fave books?
Yeah.
So we're doing our top 3 books, and we're starting with our bottom. The third.
Of the 3.
Yeah.
Yes. So my number 3 book is the last book in the Renegades series by Marissa Meyer. I'm not exactly sure how you say Meyer.
Yeah.
It's Supernova. And like I said earlier, I'm a really big Marvel fan, and this whole series is essentially just superhero books. It's really fun, action-packed. It's young adult, so if you like spice, more mature content, maybe this book isn't for you. But if you like superheroes, it's really, really fun. It was the perfect ending to the series. There were so many moments reading it that I was screaming out loud because it's just so wonderful. The premise is basically there's the renegades and the anarchists, and they're fighting each other, and it's just the end of the book, and it was tied up with a perfect little bow. It was wonderful.
I'm excited. That's on my to be read list. So
I think you'll really like
I
it.
think I will too.
Would I like it?
Do you like superheroes?
I mean, I love watching, like, I don't watch all the Marvel movies.
It's okay.
But I mean,
I'll forgive
like,
you.
I like the ones I watch.
It's
I love
very
me some Iron
superhero.
Man. Love
Yeah.
me some Spider-Man.
You might
Tom
like it.
Holland.
They're thick books though, so be prepared to read like a 700-page book.
We're used
But-
to that.
Yeah.
You know,
I
yes.
need you to read her other series, the Cinder series.
Is that
It's
one
on my
superhero?
list.
What is that one?
It's like a twist on fairy tales.
Ooh, like Once Upon a Time?
It's very dystopian, but like it's a twist on like Cinderella, and then each book is a different like fairy tale character. I think
Okay,
the
that's
second
cool.
One is like Red Riding Hood, but her name is Scarlet.
Ooh, I
instead.
love it.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
Love it.
Yeah, so it's really fun.
I really liked her writing.
Yeah, she's
So,
great.
It's on my
I'm
list.
excited to read the.
Everyone pull out your Goodreads. As
Yeah. Add it
Put
to
all
your
of these,
list.
yes, on your Goodreads. Also, we all have Goodreads if you want to follow us.
Oh, yeah.
PS.
Should I go next?
Yeah.
Okay. So mine third favorite series of all time is probably the Kerrigan Chronicles, and it's kind of it's young adult, but this series has the most twists of any series I've ever read. Like, my jaw was on the floor every single time I read the book. It was so good. I think everyone should read it. It's not a very well-known author. I need to find her. And the books are like, there's 18 books. I know that sounds like a lot, but they're all like small, like 70 to 100 pages each. So it's by W.J. May, and the first book is called Ray of Hope, and it's kind of like superpowers,
Right up my alley.
elite school kind of thing.
Oh,
kind
that's
of
cool.
like,
Gossip Girl meets Marvel?
yeah, kind of like that. So
Oh,
it's really fun,
he's like,
actually.
Count me in.
And I just think the books, not gonna lie, are not the best written books. So don't come at me if you're like, this is really terribly written. I just think her idea and storyline is so great. So that's my third. So add it to your list, everyone.
It sounds amazing. When you were telling us about these before, I had never heard about it. But honestly, I love hearing about books that I've never heard of on
Yeah.
Book Talk or from anybody else, because I feel like you go into it way more open,
Yeah.
and there's not all this hype on this book for everybody to love it,
Yeah.
and then you hate it and you feel like, what?
Yeah.
And also, why does a book have to be well written? It can just be fun and a good
As long as
idea.
I'm entertained.
Yes.
I don't really
It's really
care.
fast paced. So that's why I like it. I like fast paced books.
Me too.
I don't like a lot of fluff.
Mhm.
I will still read it, but I just like how fast paced and straight to the point she was in these books. So I was never like, okay, like, I just need to get through this. But yeah.
Hook me, page 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Perfect.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Reggie.
so my third book would probably have to be The Silent Patient.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. And this is the thing. I read it. I'm trying to remember what year I read it. I think I read it in 2020. It's like right after. Okay.
Time to be real.
Oh. Had to pause for the B-roll.
Sorry.
You're good. So I read The Silent Patient in like 2020. I think it came out in like 2019. So I read it because my uncle had read it and he was like, it's the best book I've ever read. And he's like, if you like thrillers, you would really like it. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a read. And I had literally heard nothing else about it. So this was one for me that it wasn't like, people talk about this book on TikTok a lot from what I've seen. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Yeah, I feel like a
It
lot
is
of people
very,
talk about it
it's
now.
got literally like 1.5 million reviews on Goodreads. It's a very popular book, but honestly, for good reason. This book, I literally think about it all the time. Like, I remember when I finished reading it. So, like, essentially, it's about, it's like so hard to like tell you what it's about.
Yeah.
It's basically about a therapist who has a patient who does not speak. She has not spoke since her husband's death.
Hence the Silent Patient title.
Yeah. And so he's just like trying to figure her out. And it was like such a page turner. Like, it was such a thrill the whole time I was reading it. I was like flipping through the pages. It's one of the books that really got me like reading again. And I remember when I finished reading it, I was like sitting in bed and I was like right towards the end, and I read something that happens in the book, and I literally chucked my book across the room. I would never want to hurt my precious book, but I literally like chucked it across the room, and I just sat there like, oh my gosh. And Kendall was like, what? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I actually just recently got my mother-in-law to read it, and she texted me immediately after she finished, and she was like, this book was so good. And then my father-in-law was like, fine, I'll read it. He was bored on the flight, and he was like pacing my mother-in-law said he was like pacing the airport.
Oh my
and he was
gosh.
like sweating. Like, he loved it. So if you really like thrillers and you haven't read this one, The Silent Patient, it's by Alex
Good luck.
by Michael Liddies. Mike I'm not even gonna try. Alex, the silent
Don't come
patient.
at us for pronunciations, okay?
We're not very
Seriously.
good at it.
Seriously.
We're trying our best.
So
That was one of the best thrillers I've still read to this day.
so good.
It was
Yeah.
really good.
I listened to it. I vividly remember where I was. I listened to this on audiobook.
Same.
I was driving to and from shoots. I vividly remember when I finished the book, I was driving from the Tetons home in the canyon. No service,
Oh my gosh.
pitch black dark. Such creepy vibes. And I remember just driving and my jaw was on the floor.
Yeah, it's really good.
Really good.
It's a fun thriller read.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like gory.
Nope.
It's just
It's not anything like, yeah.
It just
I
gives
would
you chills. One's
Mhm.
like
It's more psychological.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
Yeah,
say. It's
more
like a psychological
psychological.
thriller.
Yeah.
I will say though, the one thing, I feel like the beginning is maybe a little boring. Just keep going. It'll all make sense. Sometimes, when you read books and you're like, why are they talking about this?
And you're just like, just keep reading.
Just keep reading.
Please.
Just keep reading.
Keep reading.
It's Michaela's motto. She tells us all the time, just keep reading.
Just keep reading.
Just keep reading.
They ask me questions a lot, and of books that I've already read. I'm like, just please keep reading.
Just keep reading.
Just keep reading. It will be explained. I promise. And then 30 minutes they're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Michaela a question on Marco Polo this morning and she was like, just turn the page. It's all literally on the next page.
Next page.
Oops. My bad.
Awesome. Okay, so we're on number 2.
Number 2. My number 2 book came highly recommended from my good friend Reggie over here.
Oh.
It is called The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Steen or Stein. I'm not exactly sure. If you are a dog lover, you definitely need to read this book. As previously mentioned, I have 3 dogs. I was sobbing from literally the first page. Maybe everybody wouldn't. It talks about this is not a spoiler. On the first page, it talks about a dog who is on his last leg in life. He's an old man. I have a dog that's an old man. I was crying. Really just put into perspective. The other cool thing about this book is it is told in the dog's perspective, which sounds really cheesy.
Well, and I'm someone who I don't even like. I mean, I like dogs, don't get me wrong, but I've never had a dog myself. And so I just remember when one of my friends recommended it to me, I'm like, I'm not reading that. And she's like, I promise, just read the first paragraph. And then I read it. I literally was sobbing. So
It is
so good.
so good. If you have dogs, it will completely change your perspective on your dogs.
Yeah.
And it's just so incredible. I feel like the one reason people may not read it is because, it's a dog book. You think it's going to be really sad. I promise it isn't. Just
You'll be
keep
so happy
reading.
you
You'll
read
be
it.
so happy that you read it. It's
Michaela's like,
incredible.
I need to read that.
I
It
have
is-
the book.
Yeah.
I just haven't read it yet.
You will die.
I know. That's why I'm
Fellow
kind of,
dog mom.
putting it off a little bit.
Yeah.
When you need to get, yeah.
When I tell you guys, I was sitting in the car with my husband. We were getting a drink in the drive-thru, and I was snot down my face, sobbing. And he turned to me, "Are you okay? Are you going to be okay?" And I'm fine. I'm still here. I'm living. But it changed my life.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I know. It's on. I have it, but I've been putting it off. So I'm excited to read it. And I feel like I'm gonna be crying, and my husband's gonna make fun of me. So
It's also a movie with
Yes.
Milo Ventimiglia.
The guy on This Is Us.
Yeah, This
Jack.
Is Us.
Love him.
Haven't watched the movie, but I've heard the book is better than the movie.
Is still really cute. They just had to change a big part of the plot for the movie to keep it. Not
PG.
that there's anything in the book. I mean, maybe read some trigger warnings for it, but they just avoided a certain aspect in the book for the movie to make it more family friendly. And so that was one thing I was watching and I was like, wait, what? But it's still really good.
You're up.
All right, it's me. Okay, so my second favorite book of all time is Dance of Thieves. I loved this book, and it was recommended to me through Book Talk.
Love
Recommended
Book
to
Talk.
Kennedy.
Yes.
So, I just really love a good banter between characters, and that's kind of what captured me in from Book Talk, and I was like, okay, I have to read it. And then who's this by? Who is it by? I can't remember.
I can't remember who the author is either.
I just love the way she wrote everything. I feel like I was entertained from the first page to the back of the book. So it's by Mary E. Pearson. I don't know. Just look up Dance of Thieves and I promise you'll find it.
It's the only one.
Yeah, it's just really good, and I love a badass female main character. So,
yes.
And that's, yeah, I'm just a big fan of that. So, yeah, highly recommend. It's a duology book.
Yes.
I didn't love the second one as much, but it's still very satisfying to read the second. So,
Didn't you say there's like one you can read before Dance of Thieves? Because I want to read it.
I didn't know that she had written another series. Maybe I'll look her up.
I had someone message me. I posted that I was reading this book, and they had asked me if I had read her series, her other series first.
Kiss of Deception, I think, is the first one, and I think it just explains the
Like kingdoms.
Yeah, because it's a fantasy
Okay.
series. It's called The Remnant Chronicles, and apparently it just explains just everything a little bit better. It just goes a little bit more in detail, but I really didn't have a hard time reading
Me either.
Dance of Thieves and understanding anything. So if you want to skip The Kiss of Deception, I have all of the books, I just haven't read them yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to read them and learn a little bit more about the kingdom.
Fair warning with every fantasy book. I'm not sure why fantasy authors do this. The names are
So hard.
I literally just see the first and last letter and just keep going.
Oh, okay. And then when
Yeah.
we talk about it, I'm just like, I don't know.
How are you
This person-
pronouncing her name?
Yes. Google how to pronounce it.
So, yeah, that was number 2 for me. We need to get Reggie to read it. I
Yes.
feel like
Oh,
she might
I
like
want
it,
to. Yo,
so.
Kennedy, if it's on any of your top 3, I'm reading it. So
It was the first fantasy book I had ever read as an adult, and it did not disappoint. The last page, once again, I screamed.
Yeah,
It was.
it's good.
This is actually my number 4 favorite book. I was debating between Supernova and this one, and Supernova won, but it's very good.
Nice.
It's still really good.
nice. Okay, so my number 2 book is The Art of Racing in the Rain. Surprise! Ooh! Kennedy and I cannot be more twins enough. It's just the fact that I'm just like really not a dog person. I love dogs, but like I'm not a dog person, and the book changed my life. I don't know what it is about. There's just so many good like quotes, and it just changed my perspective on just life in general. It just made me want to be like a better person. It made me want to just like hold the people I love in my life a little closer.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, it's one of those books that I was like, is this gonna be like Winn-Dixie? Like I was just like, I do not want to read this. But I promise you just like read the first page, you will want to keep reading. It's very good, and
It's a feel-good read. Like
it really
it's just,
is.
It could even be, I feel like people talk about, what do they call it, buffer books in between. Maybe like it's, you just read a really good book. I don't know. It could be a buffer book for some people, but and it's also very short.
And it's not like, yes, it's about a dog, like it's from the dog's perspective, which I love, and it's written beautifully, but like it's also a lot about family.
Yes.
And
Loss.
it's not, yes, it's-
Grief.
yes, it's so good. It's one of those that like I would reread it multiple times.
And I would probably still sob and have snot running down my face every time.
Yes.
Guys, maybe I should like read it today.
You honestly could
You
probably
really should.
finish
I
it today in one
You
sitting.
could let us catch up on Throne of Glass. Just kidding.
Come on.
Sorry. I will read our Race in the Rain.
It's okay.
No, you're fine.
The big number uno.
You know, my number 1 book, I feel like the most basic human on planet Earth for saying this, because it's just the most basic number one book. And I won't go into too much detail because we'll let Reggie tell her number 1. Well, I guess, is this your number 1 book as well?
A Court of Mist and Fury.
Yes.
Yes. We can just talk about it together.
Now, I Do we want to give a spoiler warning? Are we wanting to give a spoiler-free review or spoiler review?
I feel like I gotta keep it spoiler-free.
Spoiler-free. All right, we'll give it. It's spoiler-free. For those of you who have not read ACOTAR, you have to read ACOTAR. We will be eventually doing like a full ACOTAR review on this podcast. However, it is my life's mission to have every single human being read ACOTAR. I'm not joking you. I'm getting all my sister-in-laws to read it. I'm getting friends to read it. I'm telling them to send me text updates. Here's the thing, you guys. If your friend ever recommends you a book, if a reader friend recommends you a book, they want text updates.
Yeah.
They want your reactions because we get, it's like living vicariously through you again.
Yeah. That's
Reading
why
a
we
book.
recommend them.
Yes.
Yeah.
To live through you.
And if you hate it, don't tell us because it'll offend us.
Well, and it's also like, you know how like maybe if you're not a reader, like maybe this is a way for me to explain it, but like when you watch like a really good movie that you wish you could just watch for the first time all over again, like that, it's like that with a book. Like you read a book and you're like, I wish I could read this for the first time again. Having people read your favorite book and them enjoying it just as much as you enjoyed it is just like the icing on the cake. It's the best.
It's like when I took them to Disneyland.
Yes.
I literally videoed them for the first time on like the Star Wars ride and what was the other ride?
I think it was just Star Wars.
I think it was just Star Wars. They had never been on it before and I was like, guys, this ride is incredible. I'm so excited for you to enjoy it. I literally was just looking at them the entire time.
But the look on your face too was just pure joy being able to see us.
I was like,
hi. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That picture of me, I'm like, my jaw literally couldn't even be open anymore.
Detached. Just detached from your face. No, it's just it's a second book in the ACOTAR series. I personally would call it a romance fantasy book.
Yeah.
Not a fantasy romance, in my opinion.
Especially that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. There's certain chapters that I will go back, you guys, and read when I have a really crappy day because it just makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Same.
Like makes you smile.
Yeah.
You're, like smiling like an idiot.
Yeah.
Pages.
Yeah, I was reading, there's like a certain chapter, I won't say which chapter, but like Kennedy had told me like, oh, just wait till you get to this chapter. And I was like sitting around with all my family and I was reading and I was like, I know I need to go downstairs and read this by myself. And I was so glad I did because I was sitting there like
crying,
wiping tears, crying. And I was just like, I think it's probably my number one favorite book, and I know it's a more recent read for me, but like I literally think about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's impacted me. And then the fact that I'm like, oh, you're having a bad day and you're like, let me just go open my comfort chapter. Like I can't think of any other book that I'm like, I need to go read a comfort chapter.
Yeah.
So
I think about how that book made me, like the feelings I had reading that book all the time.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just like how excited, and I laughed, I cried. The last 100 pages. I mean, I feel like this is okay. Can I ask you this question?
Mm-hmm.
Sarah J. Maas or Sarah J. Maas?
I thought it was Moss. But I've been hearing people on TikTok say mass, so then I started saying mass.
Once again, please don't come for our pronunciation, but I feel like a very huge trend in her books is like the last 150 pages.
Yeah.
It's just
Emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
So, I mean, it's just everything. I could go on, and honestly, maybe depending on my mood, I might interchange these three books maybe change the order, but right now, Accordimus and Fury is my guy.
It was it's really good. I feel like I've just read a lot more books than these two, but the series was still incredible and it's still like probably in my top 10. So I highly suggest it.
So then what's your favorite book?
let's hear it. Drum roll, please.
Okay, well, I can't really say a lot because these two are currently reading the series, and it's my all-time favorite series. It's the Throne of Glass series, but the last book is my favorite book of all time. And I can't.
I
really
just like
say
got
that.
like goosebumps because I'm like, I'm gonna read it.
They're on
Heir of Fire.
Heir of Fire right now, which is technically the fourth book.
Yeah,
because we started with Assassin's Blade.
The correct way to read it.
The correct way. I'm sorry, don't come at me. But I've already read this series. The first time I read it, I did not read Assassin's Blade because I did not know anything about Throne of Glass. I literally had no idea what order, and so I just saw on TikTok and I was like, Throne of Glass, okay, that's the first book. I had no idea there was a prequel. So I just read them all without reading Assassin's Blade, and I'm so glad I told them to read Assassin's Blade first, because I also read it with them. And I was like, this would have been so much better if I would have read it first. So I'm glad we read it, and yeah, it's just like the little cherry on top, because I feel like it just all connects, and that's kind of why I love the last book so
excited.
much. I'm so excited for them to read it, and
Will I cry?
absolutely.
Oh, love it.
I love a book that makes me cry.
Yeah, emotional damage is just 100% the last 3 books. So, really excited.
Here's my thing. I could honestly see right now ACOTAR is probably my favorite series I've ever read.
Yeah.
However, I could see myself changing it and having it be Throne of Glass being my favorite series.
Same.
For those of you who haven't read Throne of Glass at all, which once again we will do another summary podcast once we finish all the books. Selena, I mean, once again, I don't know what happens in the rest of the series, and this may not have to do with the last book, but Selena is the
best,
ultimate female boss character, bad A, everything of the sort.
Let me just give a little introduction of Throne of Glass. Is she's an assassin, and
she's what, 15 in the
she's
first
16
book? 16
in the first book. Like, what could be cooler? I know, like,
literally.
that's not morally cool, but
Who cares about morals?
Like,
it's fine.
it's
a book.
so entertaining to read because she's so sassy, so witty, so like bad A, like so much swagger. I know that's a weird word to say.
No,
but she
no,
uses
for
it
real.
makes sense.
She uses that word in her books a lot, but she's just so cool. I aspire to be like her. She's just so strong-willed, not assassin, not want to kill anybody.
She's so tough, and
Yeah, I just like, when I think about like doing hard things, I just literally think like,
Well, what's Selena do?
yeah, seriously.
When you're at the
I'm
gym, you need some
working out,
motivation?
I'm like,
Selena.
if I'm not throwing up my guts, I'm not doing it right.
yeah.
Just kidding, I hate throwing up. But I just constantly am like referring back to her, and she just, I feel like she's just like a female character that makes you feel empowered about being
Yes.
female.
Yes.
I want to strive to be like that.
Yes.
I can
Yeah.
do hard things. And
Yes.
so that's just why I love the series so much, is because all of the characters are continuously doing hard things, and I'm like, I can do that. I know they're not real, but I feel like they're
Yes.
best friends.
Yes. That's like when I finish ACOTAR. I mean, I still guess there's another book coming eventually, but like you get sad because you're just like, oh, my people, you know?
They're gone.
I feel like that with TV shows too. Like as the series ends, I'm like, oh, I feel like they're my friends.
Yeah, I feel like books are just
So-
like TV shows because you become emotionally attached.
Sometimes even more too, because
Yeah.
you can kind of like picture them how you like, you can perceive them a little bit differently. Whereas like on a TV show, it's like,
Yeah.
that's Nick Miller.
Yeah.
There he is. That's what he looks like. This is what he does. But in your, you get a better look into their brain.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about reading too.
And I feel like too, I've never like watched a TV show and taken a part of a character with me and like implement it into my personality. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Whereas I feel like you read about book characters, and especially with like Selena, there's things that attributes of her that I'm like, I wish I was more like strong-willed or whatever it may be. And I feel like with books you kind of take these characteristics of these characters and become almost like them.
Yeah.
Becomes your entire personality. Me.
And I wish you guys could, those of you listening, I wish you guys could see each of us when we talk about our favorite books, just like how happy and just like the light in our eyes that we get when we talk about our favorite books. And it sounds so dumb, but
It's not dumb.
Brings
no.
us so much joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly. So, if any of you guys want to read Throne of Glass, we'll probably be doing a whole summary like in a month or two.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to catch up, I think it's really great. And a lot of people don't love the first few books, but
Which I was surprised
Me
by.
too. I like
But
them.
I do think a part of it you mentioned was because we read Assassin's Blade first.
Yeah.
I had a friend who started reading Throne of Glass and she didn't read Assassin's Blade first, and she was like, it's really boring. And I was like, I'm not bored at all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So just give it a chance.
Yes.
Mhm.
Take our advice and read it.
Your homework
Just
books
read.
are the whole ACOTAR series, the whole Throne of Glass series, and
Verity.
Verity.
Maybe start with Verity because that's we'll be talking about in 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. Whenever we decide to release it.
Yes.
But I think if there's ever a podcast episode and it's just a book title, fair warning, there will be spoilers if it's just a book
we'll
title.
write within the podcast descriptions if it's spoiler free or not. So like this
Yeah.
one, we didn't give any spoilers for any books, so we'll put no spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Excited. Okay. You're number 1. Oh, wait.
we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
A Quarter of
Did we do a
Mystery.
good job?
I don't know.
Leave us a rating and review. Subscribe.
Only nice stuff, please. This is our first podcast.
Yeah, if you don't like it, just don't tell us.
No, we're so happy that you're here listening to us just chat about books. And we're really excited for this podcast. We've wanted to do it for quite some time, and we finally bit the bullet, ordered another mic, and here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been really fun so far. Just
Yeah.
like brainstorming everything. I'm really excited to see
Where all of our episodes take us.
I know, really.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
We don't have an outro yet, but thanks so much for listening. I guess we should tell people where to find us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Take it away, you two.
I mean, we mentioned in the beginning, but our Instagram and TikTok is at what she's
Reading pod. Yes, Instagram and TikTok is what she's reading pod.
I don't know how to end it.
Okay, bye.
See you later. Thank you guys so much for listening. Feel free to rate and review our podcast if you liked this first episode. And don't forget to subscribe to us because we hope that we can be in your ears every Wednesday. Please.
See you next Wednesday.
Love you. Bye.